Right, so we're here with another one of our seniors as we feature some of the seniors of Indian descent and talk about their times growing up and what they recall about the Indian presence in St Vincent and the Grenadines. Can you tell me your name, please?
Theresa Jack.
Your age?
89 years.
And former occupation?
We're just housewife and store worker.
Where do you live and where were you born?
Right now I'm living in Villa, but I was born in Richland Park. I grew up in Richland Park, but about 22 years ago I moved down to Villa. So right now I'm living in Villa.
Do you remember your parents' names and their occupations, what they did?
Yeah, my mother was Alice Bacchus and my father, Joseph Bacchus. My father died in an accident when he was just about 50 years old. And my mother died when she was 71 years old. She was sick with diabetes. My father was a businessman and my mother was also a businesswoman.
What about your brothers and sisters and what they do?
Yeah, my brothers, we were 14 children and 7 of us alive now. The others died. My oldest brother is 97. He's just retired. And my other brothers, they are retired too. The last one retired. The last child from mommy retired. My sister's retired. Everybody retired now.
What about your children?
Oh, my children, they are all grown up and their occupation is in, one is a doctor, one is she working in a school. She's the accountant in the school. Her name is Vida Giddens. And my son is here, Ronnie Jack. My other son is here too, Alex Jack. And my daughter is here, Julie Lewis. And my other daughter is in Michigan. She works in Hong Kong area. But right now she doesn't want to go back there yet. And that's all, 7 children.
Okay. Do you know if your uncles and your aunts are those? Are you aware of their backgrounds, what they did as well?
My uncles, they all were like farmers, tailor, and my auntie, they were just housewife. I could remember my uncle Norman Bacchus, my uncle Nathaniel Bacchus, my uncle Owen Bacchus, my auntie Mary McDowell, and Elmina Williams, Catherine Morgan. Those are who I could remember.
Okay, that's fine. What about your grandparents? You remember their names and what they used to do as well?
My grandmother was Mary Moe. She lived 103 years. And she used to live with my parents when she got older. She was blind, she couldn't see. So I used to take care of her when I was at home. When I got married, she said, "Therese, you're going, who's going to bathe me now?" I said, "My other sister would bathe you." But she died after I got married. I don't remember what year she died, but she died after I got married. And I was married in 1953.
1953, that's a very long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Where did your grandparents live though? Did they live in Richland Park?
In Richland Park.
In Richland Park.
Since I know them, they lived in Richland Park.
What about the other relatives, like your cousins and other people that you know you were related to? Not necessarily the aunts and the uncles, but other relatives that you were close to growing
Well,
up.
most of my cousins was living in Richland Park, but they all migrated. Some in Canada, some in America, some in England. Most of them migrated.
Okay. You remember any of them in particular? Maybe they were skilled in tailoring or they were seamstresses, any otherwise? In terms of extended relatives, cousins, etc.
Some of them were teachers. Some were politicians. Morgan was a politician. And McDowell was a politician too, but they all passed away. Morgan is alive still, but McDowell passed away.
And while you were growing up, did you ever get any or hear any stories from your parents or your grandparents about the Indian forefathers, those who came from India and the traditions they brought?
No, I don't know much about that. I can't remember much about that.
Okay, so you didn't really hear much about that growing up?
No, no.
Okay. As a child growing up and in your former years, tell me a bit about what life was like for you. I mean, primary school days and then after that to now.
Well, primary school, I used to go to a lady named Sister Williams. I used to go to her school. And when I have lunchtime, I used to go over by my grandmother, but she was not living too far from Sister Williams. And then afterward, I started to go to Mesopotamia school, but it was hard for me to walk down there every day, and my father decided that he was going to start a primary school, help start a primary school in the Seventh Adventist Church. So I was out of school for a couple of years, but when I was about 13 years, the school started and I went back to school. But suddenly my father died and I didn't get to finish school. I didn't get much education.
But after you left school, you say you didn't get to finish. What happened next for you?
I was home with my mom when my father died and helping to take care of my other siblings because I was the oldest one at home. The older ones, they were married already, and I was the oldest one at home, so I used to take care of the others who were left behind and help my mom with them. Then I didn't get to go to school much anymore.
What about your early years with your husband getting involved in business as well? You being that support with him as well. How was that in terms of from the ground up?
When we got married, we didn't have anything. We were very poor, but my mom gave us a machine, and my husband used to make caps and go and sell them. And there's where he started his business, buying and selling, making clothes and sell all the years. That is where we started business, and I grew up in the business and helping the business until we are here today.
And today you now have Jack's Enterprises, which your husband and yourself built to what
Jack's
it is today.
Enterprises. But Jack's Enterprises is run now by my children because I'm retired.
How would you say things are now compared to, let's say, when you were growing up 40, 50, 60 years ago, in terms of the Vincentian way of life and the way how people relate to each other?
It's much different now than when I was growing up. Because when I was growing up, we couldn't eat like what we could eat today. We used to eat breadfruit morning, noon and night. But now you can eat anything else you want to. So it's much different right now.
Any special treasured memories, things that you remember most when you were growing up that you would want to tell us about? Special moments in your life?
The only thing I could remember about my grandmother, when she used to live with us, we got radio in St Vincent, and then the radio was played all day. So she said in the evening, "Theresa, did you all give those guys some drink? They sing all day. I want to know if they get anything to drink." I said, "Yes, Granny, we give them something to drink." Because she couldn't see, so she didn't understand.
Okay. So you remember a lot about your grandmother?
Yeah, because she stayed with us when I was home. When she got blind, my mom took her to live with us.
You mentioned that treasured memory there, and there must have been times as well where things were difficult for you growing up and in the later stages of life. Any of the hardships that you went through, some challenges that you faced that you wish to talk about?
Not really. I grew up with my mom, tried to help her, and everything was going fine. I got married to a very kind and gentleman, and we will walk together and make life easy. I was happy all the years.
If you had to change anything in your life growing up, what would that be?
Well, I grew up a Christian all the years, and now I can't do nothing else more than be a Christian until I die.
Okay, what about any decisions that you made, any things that you did that you probably thought you didn't do it the right way that you'd wish to change in life? Anything like that sort?
Well, there might be lots of stuff that I could have done and I didn't do it right, but you just can't remember everything now.
Okay. What about the changes you've seen in St Vincent and the Grenadines? If you can change anything in SVG, what would that be, and why?
I would like the young people to be Christians. That is the most thing I would like, because they're not behaving good sometimes.
So you would want more of the young people to get involved and
Involving in Christianity.
okay, and become Christians.
Yeah, become Christian, because if we are not Christians, we can't see Christ when he comes.
Do you know anything about the Indian Heritage Foundation? You have heard of it?
I heard that they talk about it, but I don't know much about it, because my husband is not a real Indian. He
Okay.
he's half Indian, and then he doesn't want to take much active part in that. And he's old now, so he can't do much.
Okay. Did you enjoy sharing your story with us and chatting with us?
Yes, I did.
Alright. Anything you'd like to add before we close off?
Well, I would like that the Indian people get back to the old time days when they used to interact with one another more closely and talk to one another more closely. But everybody is kind of self now.
Okay. So that's what you would want to see for
Mhm.
and that is what the organization is there to do, to
Okay.
bring everybody back together. At least we can make the family connections and reunite everybody. It doesn't matter if you're half Indian, quarter Indian, or whatever. Once you have some background and some parent or relative that of Indian descent, we can make that connection family wise. So let me thank you very much, and I appreciate the time that you spend chatting with me and sharing
Okay, you're
some
welcome.
important information. Thank you.